Ashley, your scrappy nerd, and I'm back today with a layout for Scraplift Crafternoon, and it's where a bunch of my crafty peeps and I get together and we scraplift an amazing layout from an amazing creator. And you saw her layout at the top of the video. And this one's kind of fun because I pulled in a bunch of stash for this one. And so I pulled in the, like these little, I don't know what size they're, 8x8 papers that came from a already pre-made scrapbook that I found at like a thrift store, and I used them to cut out the tags because I like that a lot. And then I pulled in my Cartabella Old World Travel and Transatlantic Travel stickers, as well as the Echo Park Getaway. And I showed you the paper pad, and it was from Hobby Lobby from a bazillion years ago. I couldn't find like an actual name for it. And then I pulled in my Simple Stories stencil cameras, and I'm going to use Distress ink and tea dye, and then Distress spray in Vintage Photo. And you're going to see that I started exactly how she did with kind of the point of the triangle pointing to the right of the page, but I will actually flip mine, and the triangle the point of it will point to the left. But I do start out making it the same direct. Like I said, I enjoy that I used all scraps and stash for this layout. And so I pulled in the blue kind of grid paper for my main background, and then this yellowish, brownish polka dot paper is for one of the triangles. And I actually double map my triangle, but I wanted to add this blue here to the triangle. And I cannot stand triangles. I hate making them. I hate doing them. And this is why I love this series, because it makes me do a triangle. If it wasn't for either doing sketches or scrap lifting, I would never do a triangle. And I love how this turned out in the end, but I just, for some reason, I have this adverse reaction to triangles. And so I probably do these things the most convoluted way possible, but it's the only way that I can get my brain to make a triangle. And then if you could tell, my triangle is not exactly the same size on both sides. One side is longer than the other, but I cover it up and you don't notice it in the end. But I just find that funny. It, like, me and triangles, we just don't get along. Maybe it's because I didn't do well in geometry, but that's neither here nor there. And of course, I distress everything. I love a good distressing. So I distressed my green paper of the edges, and then I distressed each of the triangle bits. And then I had a photo block, and so I took my two photos, and one's horizontal, but there wasn't much to the left side of the photo, so I trimmed it down to match the same size as the 4x6 photo, vertical photo, and then that's how I'm going to create my photo block. And I'm scraplifting these pictures of my husband and I on this old staircase. We went to this fort, San Cristobal in Puerto Rico, and it's amazing. It's like, I forget how old it is, but it's old. And everything was stairs, and how they managed to get up and down the stairs with all their armor and everything is amazing, because I'm wearing a tank top and my husband's wearing shorts, and we were exhausted at the end of this day. We were so tired. It was so hot and humid, and we were going up and down these stairs looking at everything in this fort, and I just can't imagine how these soldiers in that time period managed. And then it didn't smell great. And anyways, so kudos to them. But yeah, this was an excursion on a cruise ship, and after we did this excursion, because we went to 2 forts that day, and we didn't go to dinner that night. We were like, nope, we're going to stay in our room and have room service and go to bed, because we're old and we just did like 5,000 stairs. And so, but again, they were amazing. And so this is us on this really spiral staircase that went down to the dungeon of the fort. And so I took a picture of my husband and he took a picture of me. And so I think this was perfect for the photo block because we're in the same stairs and I don't have to make two layouts about it. And then it fits nicely. Like I said, the one of me was a horizontal photo, but it was mostly of just the wall to the left. And so I could trim it down and you didn't miss any point of the photo. But I am going to take my camera stencil and I'm going to put that in the background, some mixed media on her background. And I just thought it'd be fun to use the cameras for this. And so I used my tea dye and I put it through the cameras, and then I took my distress stain and I will spray on top of that before I remove the stencil, because I thought it would be fun if the distress splatters were only on the cameras, but that's not how that happens. And so it got underneath the stencil and it doesn't just look like it's in the camera. So I will stop just putting the spray on the stencil, and at the end, after I get all of my cameras stenciled on, I will spritz the entire background. And then there's some you can see that had little smudges because they had got under the stencil, which is fine. It makes it still look distressed, but that idea did not pan out like I had planned. So, and I didn't put it, I tried to just have little bits peeking out on the left side from the triangle. We actually had less mixed media. My cameras stick out a little bit more, but I just think they're so cute. So, and here's where I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna spritz the whole thing and not just worry about spritzing the cameras. It was funny, there's a smooge in the top left camera because it got underneath the stencil when I had tried that. And anyways, some of the best plans, but I like how this turned out and added that kind of vintagey feel. I wanted this layout to kind of go with, you can see in the photos that everything is, it's old and it's all made out of stone and it's been there for a bazillion years. And so I wanted it to have a vintage feel to it. And that's why it was fun to go into my stash and get all of my embellishments that I've had forever, because I love vintage looking things and I get them and then I can't, there's no way I possibly can use all of them. And especially then I've started trying to make more cheerful layouts. And so, but I thought that this was perfect colors for this, for these pictures. And so here's where you see I'm getting all of my things laid out, and I found these kind of map like cut aparts, and so I put those behind my triangle. She had some little pieces of paper behind her triangle as well, and then this is where I cut out that cut apart from that one of those 8x8 layouts that were from a scrapbook. And then I had these titles from who knows where for who knows how long, and it says a journey, and I thought that was kind of a fun take, because like I said, this was a journey walking around these forts. And so she had her title on an angle with the triangle, and I thought that looked amazing, and I had planned to do that, but this didn't work there. And so I will put some wordy bits on the angle with the triangle, which I like, but technically a journey is my title, and I just put it across the middle, and it was really long, and so I just trimmed it down. And because there was like a little button on either side, you wouldn't know that it was trimmed down. And then I did distress it, of course. And then I pulled in from those old world travel and transatlantic travel, I pulled in travel enthusiasts and exploration and put those on the angle of the triangle. And I like how that worked out. It pulls in, like I said, she had words on her angles, and I just think that that's cute. And I love wordy bits, so I do put them all over this layout. And I had this little world map, and it was just a little bit too bright white. And so I used my tea dye and just stained it so that it wouldn't be so bright white. I didn't dip it in the ink or anything. I just used whatever was left on the sponge and just went over that so that it was just a little bit darker and not so bright white. And then I'm putting, it says excursion, because like I said, we were on the cruise ship, and this is this is the excursion that we picked where we visited these 2 forts. And then it's adventure is out there. And I pulled in that little travel, compass, and this stamp that I had, and it's like the stamp is clear on the background, so I knew I wanted to put it on this yellow so that you would see it. And then I put the travel wordy bit underneath, and so it kind of says travel moments, a journey. And so I think that's a fun little title. And I will put sightseeing with a tag up on the up on the right side of the layout. And so this one has a lot of wordy bits that I was just pulling off those sticker sheets that I pulled in. And the Echo Park Getaway is, you can tell those ones are a little bit whiter. I do pull in a circle in the top, and it says snap a picture, which I feel like, well, that just goes because 1, we're stopping on these stairs taking a picture, and 2, I have all these cameras in the background as mixed media, and it's white, and I probably should run the tea dye over that so it doesn't stand out so much up there on the top left. But I think that it works out really well. And I do pull in some enamel dots. I just have these enamel dots sitting on my table in my room here so that I get them used up. And so any chance that I think that it matches, I'll use them. You've seen me pull them in a bunch. But these are some, they're like the sparkly black, but they're like a green sparkle. And so you'll see I'll put them on the end of each of these words, and then I put them over like the little make believe buttons that they have on the title, and then on my little cluster that's on the right side. And again, it's just I need to get these used up, and I think it just adds a little something extra to the page because I am, if not anything, just extra all the time. And but that's pretty much the layout. Make sure that you guys go and check out everyone who is helping along the amazing things that they do. And I want to say thank you to everyone that has liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Just hit the buttons below, and if you hit the little notification, it'll tell you when I have new videos. And I hope that everyone has a great day. Bye.